Well, now I want to turn to a new segment on our shows called S-Scale Modeling. I'd like to thank the whole board of the National Association of S-Scalers, of S-Gaugers, for sponsoring this section of our shows. It's going to be called S-Scale Modeling. It's going to be hosted by Tim Hubner, and it's going to run once a month. And the dates probably are going to be different each month, depending on what else we've got going and the availability of Tim to fit this in his schedule. But this is the first one that we're going to do. And for each one that we do, we're going to run a 1-minute video of the association that is sponsoring this segment on our show. So Pat, if you could run the 1-minute video for the National Association of S-Gaugers.
S-Scale or S-Gauge is modeling in 1/64th scale and includes American Flyer, Standard Gauge, and Narrow Gauge. S-Gauge, or 3/16 inch to the foot modeling, is often called the Goldilocks scale, an ideal combination of detail and scalability to model reasonable-sized areas. This combination makes S-Scale both versatile and easy to work with. Ready-to-operate locomotives and rolling stock are available from a variety of vendors. There are also manufacturers of equipment, buildings, track, and details in kit form available for those who love to build. S-Scale is the ideal scratch building scale, large enough for amazing detail, yet small enough for a layout. To learn more, visit the website of the National Association of S-Gaugers at nasg.org, where you will find the history of the scale, information about S-Scale clubs in your area, current manufacturers, online groups, and resources to help you on your journey into the wonderful world of 1/64 scale model railroading.
And I do encourage everybody to go to their website. It's a neat website. And you'll learn an awful lot about the scale by just what's contained on their website. But now I'd like to introduce Tim Hubner, who's going to be the host for this segment of our shows each month on S-Scale Modeling. So Tim, welcome.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. And, I think S-Scale is, like the National Association of S-Gaugers say, it really is the Goldilocks scale. And I kind of wanted to take this first episode and talk a little bit about why I'm in S-Scale and, kind of what I envision as, and of course, I'm always open to any type of, constructive criticism and everything else about where we can go with this. But I guess first things first, I've been a model railroader for 37 of my 40 years on this planet. And a vast majority of that has not been spent in S-Scale. I recently came to the scale about 3 years ago. I came over from O-Scale Proto 48. And, as Proto 48 can say, I'm kind of a stickler for detail. Now, having said that, I've spent, a vast majority of my time in HO scale, HON3, 120.3, and I've always kind of been a rubber gauger. And I switched around between, one moment I'm modeling HO, next one I'm back in O scale, et cetera, never really finding my place. And what got me really, really excited is I went to a show. This was about 4 years ago, and I seen my first piece of SN3 rolling stock. And I was kind of blown away. I was like, man, you get the amount of detail from a larger scale in the same size as HO, which really, really appealed to me. Now, I've always been a lifelong, as you can tell, a lifelong Southern Pacific fan. And with the knowledge that PBL had produced the Southern Pacific 460s for the Keeler branch in Owens Valley, California, I was smitten. But I had a steep learning curve. I had no idea outside of the engines what had been produced, resources, where to go. This is where the National Association of S-Gaugers website is absolutely vital. Between that website, Facebook groups, and several other places, I really kind of, figured my way through it and who made what and where to get it, and, spend a lot of time talking to people. One of the things I think that I can do, or I'm hoping to do anyways, is introduce S-scale and S-scale modeling to more people too. I really do think it's 100% accurate when they say it's the Goldilocks scale, just because the amount of realism, detail, there's a lot of scratch building, sure, but I've always found that to be an extremely attractive portion of modeling as well. So I think S-scale really kind of combines it all. In front of me, I've got several locomotives. I've got a Southwind Models 280. It's a C9. I've got a River Racing MK5282 and a River Racing S12060, as well as, of course, my PBL model of number 18, which is a 36-inch gauge 460. So it kind of shows a little bit of the size and contrast differences between the two and a little bit of what's available. My idea for what we're going to do monthly is I would like to take you guys through not only what's available in the scale, but what's coming out, resources that you can use, whether or not it's my Facebook pages. I got to get my website going again. It's still there, but I need to update it. And, as well as a lot of modelers. I'm fortunate enough, I live in the Seattle area, and I have a huge amount of SN3 modelers in my area that are incredibly talented, even like way more so than I am. And I would like to start bringing them on too, and kind of just do a state of where the scale is. And I truly think that we're kind of in the golden age of S-scale. There's more being produced right now than there ever has been. Your options are not just expensive graph models like I have in front of me, but there's a ton of different manufacturers that are making ready to run plastic rolling stock. There's a lot of manufacturers. I brought one of them up here real quick that I was particularly impressed with. Like Monster Model Works, just in the last couple of months, has released, I think it's 5 new structure kits just in the last couple of months. And, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of interest. Several of my friends that were in other scales are transferring over to S-scale just because I won't shut up about it. Like, it's pretty much a constant. If I know you and we're talking trains, we're talking S-scale. So you can say I've really jumped in both feet. I've sold pretty much everything else I own just to go whole hog in S-scale. And, of course, I'd like to hear any input about what you guys would like to see in the future, this 15-minute segment we're going to be doing once a month. If there's particular items that you would like to know about, or, things that I could touch upon to maybe make it a little bit easier. I am working currently with a couple of manufacturers who I won't mention at this point. I'll wait until the products individually come out on producing several more things in S-scale. Including a locomotive build that we're doing right now as well in SN3. So there will be some information coming out about that in the future, but I can't tell you how excited I am to be here in front of you guys talking about S-scale. Trying to figure out like the best direction to go with this. I think I'm going to focus the next couple of months just on kind of running over products and resources, and then seeing whether or not you guys have any questions. And then, going from there, maybe we can dig in a little bit deeper. I'm doing several scratch building projects right now consecutively, including a Southern Pacific water tower. I just finished this kit right here of one of the Monster Model Works building flats. I've got rolling stock that I'm putting together. I'm doing a kit bash right now of a PBL Denver Rio Grande Western 5500 series stock car into an SP prototype. So, there's lots of different directions we can go and lots of different things that we could touch on. I think probably the number one thing I'd say is I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to be sharing the scale. And I'm really glad that Jim, you reached out to me in particular. I had been incredibly excited to sit down and do this. I went out and bought a ton of new equipment just so I could do it. And my wife thinks I'm absolutely nuts because the whole second story of our house is trains. And it's just getting worse. But that's pretty much all I've got for right now. How did I do on time, Jim?
You did great. Let me ask you this.
Yep.
I'm a new guy. I can go into any scale I want to.
Yep.
What's the one, as Phil always asks me, what's the elevator pitch for S-Scale?
So S-Scale, the pitch for it, I think it really, a lot of Americans, or even people worldwide right now, there's a lot of space constraints. I've seen this when I was in Proto 48. A lot of people are interested in the larger scale trains, which is fine until they start to turn. And then those huge radiuses can eat up real estate really, really quick. I think with S-Scale, it gives you the ability to have enough train that it's easy to see. The detail is easy to pick up and appreciate, and a footprint that's usually in keeping with, most people's households and, how they occupy their household. I think that's really what it comes down to it, because you have the physical mass of the trains combined with still a decent footprint. So, you can fit a really nice, like I'm building right now, a 2 by 14 foot Inglenook style switching layout based on San Francisco in the 1950s. Mm-hmm. And I basically just modified a HO scale plan, grew it by roughly about 30%, and able to fit it into a really nice area. But the detail, the presentation, the extra mass, especially if you run sound equipped locomotives, it's really, it needs to be seen to be appreciated. But I think that's the direction I would go with that question, because once you see S-Scale, you understand what I'm talking about on that one. It's just a ton of detail.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Tim, for doing this tonight. Does anybody have any questions for Tim? Tim, thank you so very much. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much.